This Friday, some last-minute news emerged regarding the Chicago Bears. Ryan Poles and his team have decided to add 2 more athletes to the roster as the NFL draft approaches, just 3 weeks away. I'll bring you the details on each of these new players soon, but that's just part of what makes you want to stay tuned. We're keeping an eye on relevant updates, small additions, and signings to ensure you stay on top of everything related to this football team, including the latest on a roster and much more. We'll have extensive draft coverage in the coming weeks, so it's crucial not to miss any details. The team announced these signings on social media, so let's get straight to it, starting with Boykin from Tinley Park, who signed a 1-year contract. I remember his time at Notre Dame. I was really impressed by his athletic abilities, believing he could offer versatility as a tall receiver, playing both in the slot and on the outside. Looking at his stats over 5 seasons, it's clear his impact was limited. Most of his production came in his first 2 years in the NFL, where he racked up 32 of his 38 receptions and all 7 touchdowns, accumulating over 400 yards during that time. The last 3 years haven't been as fruitful for him for various reasons, and being a former third-round pick, it's a bit surprising that he hasn't stood out more in the league. He played at Providence Catholic, a school that some might recognize, and will soon share his high school memories. During his time at Notre Dame, he played alongside Kelce for 2 seasons, in 2016 and 2017. He was drafted by the Steelers in the 3rd round in 2019. His most productive seasons were undoubtedly the early years. Let's explore his high school journey, which has some interesting points to highlight. During his time at Notre Dame, he played alongside Kelce in specific years, 2016 and 2017. He was selected by the Steelers in the 3rd round in 2019, beginning his journey in Pittsburgh. His 2 most productive years came in 2019 and 2020, with a reasonable performance in 2021, although he faced some difficulties, possibly due to an injury. He was then signed by the rival Baltimore Ravens, where he stayed for a few years and, in the last season, spent some time on the practice squads of 2 teams. As mentioned earlier, his athletic abilities are really impressive. When analyzing them, he scored a 9.93 out of 10, standing out as one of the highest-rated wide receivers in NFL Combine history. He's 6 feet 4 inches and weighs 222 pounds, having completed the 40-yard dash in 4.42 seconds, along with a vertical jump of 43.5 inches. His broad jump was 121 inches. We're talking about one of the most remarkable athletes to ever enter the NFL. However, this proves that being an exceptional athlete doesn't guarantee you'll be a great football player. I'm not saying he can't evolve, but typically, players who've been in the league for about 5 years are not the ones you'd bet on to build a team around. In a group of 90 athletes during the offseason, I've already mentioned that I'd like to have a backup type X, a big-bodied receiver, and I believe he could offer that option. He intrigues me as a big slot receiver, and it's interesting to note his time with 2 franchises with a defensive focus. The Ravens have shifted more toward offense, while Pittsburgh has always been more recognized for its defense. Maybe, just maybe, a coach can take advantage of his athletic potential. I spoke with someone who grew up in the Chicago area and played football and basketball at a Catholic school. He mentioned that this player was a real star in both football and basketball during his high school days. He shared his stats from his final year at Providence Catholic, where he scored 19 touchdowns in 11 games, clearly showcasing his ability to make big plays. I imagine he stood out a lot back then. Before continuing, I'd like to quickly add this. He shared his performances from his last year at Providence Catholic, where he scored 19 touchdowns in 11 games. It's clear he had the ability to make standout plays, and he was certainly notable during that period. Before moving on, I'd like to add one more observation. The Vikings host, who grew up in the Chicago metropolitan area and is a Bulls enthusiast, sent me a message mentioning a significant interaction he had with Boykin during high school, shortly after the signing was confirmed. It's interesting to see how young players from the region often end up joining the Bears. We'll see how this situation develops. While it's possible he's just a player for off-season training, if he can show good performance and compete for the last spot, I believe, due to his physique, he has the potential to be an effective blocker. A sturdy backup receiver is needed, and he fits that description. If he stays healthy, he could take the 5th or 6th receiver spot. Evaluating the Miles Boykin signing on a scale from A to F, considering this is a year where the salary may not be guaranteed, I don't see any reason for a negative assessment. We shouldn't set high expectations for these signings. Now, changing the subject, it's relevant to mention the return of spring, which brings back baseball, opening the possibility of including players from that sport in lineups. It's feasible to create a team with only baseball players or mixed basketball and hockey athletes. This option is interesting as it allows players from different teams to join together in a formation. There's a special offer available. With a promo code, you can secure a bonus by signing up and starting with just $5. The platform allows you to select 2 or more players from different teams to create your lineup. Plus, using an exclusive code, you'll get an extra amount when you register, allowing you to start with just $5. The statistical projections for the football season are especially appealing. For example, Caleb Williams is expected to outperform his last year's performance, and I believe he'll throw for even more passing yards, making this an obvious pick. Additionally, James Cook is expected to surpass a certain rushing yardage total, which is also an enticing bet. The potential return can be interesting on this pick, as $10 could turn to $30 or $100 could result in $300. If you get it right, you win. Even if you don't succeed with your first pick, you'll still receive an additional amount to play with just $5. Changing the topic, a player's signing deserves attention. He signed a 1-year contract, and for those who follow college football, it's likely that you've heard his name. He was a big recruit at Ohio State University, and at one point, he was considered a first-round pick. However, his last season in college wasn't the best, leading him to be drafted only in the 5th round in 2021. He couldn't make the main roster and remain on the practice squad, later being signed by another team, where he played for 3 seasons. He contributed to special teams and had a few appearances as a defender, especially due to injuries in the roster. However, he didn't meet expectations at the time. Currently, he's become a reasonable special teams player and a depth defender. Last year, he was on another team's practice squad, and this signing, though intriguing, isn't as appealing as Miles Boykin's. An undetailed injury occurred at Ohio State, which was never disclosed, and as a result, he couldn't maintain his performance level. Currently, Din Nish is considered an acceptable special teams player and adds some depth to the defense. He spent the last season on a league practice squad, which makes me less interested in this situation compared to the other player. This isn't just because of the connection with a local team, but also because the other athlete has an interesting athletic profile and has already shown some performance in the league, scoring 7 touchdowns in his first 2 seasons. With a different defender, the most optimistic scenario is that he occupies the 4th or 5th position in the team's hierarchy, and for this team, he would likely be just the 5th defender. To be honest, it seems like quite a challenge for him to secure a spot on the team. He could help on special teams, but again, this is mostly about providing depth. During the offseason, with a roster of 90 players, these signings don't present significant risks. These are non-guaranteed deals and don't affect the salary cap, so I really have no concerns about these acquisitions. However, when addressing this issue, I'm much more intrigued by another player. In your opinion, what would be the best choice here? Type B for the first player or W for the second? I'm going with B for the first player. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The Chicago Bears are making headlines with their ambitious pursuit of one of the NFL's biggest stars, Travis Kelce. In what could be a seismic shift in the league, reports suggest that the Bears are strongly considering an aggressive move to acquire the Kansas City Chiefs' legendary tight end. With Chicago looking to build a championship-caliber offense, the potential arrival of Kelce would instantly elevate their passing game and provide a veteran presence capable of transforming the team's fortunes. But can the Bears pull off what would be one of the most stunning trades in recent NFL history? Kelce, a future Hall of Famer and widely regarded as one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game, remains a dominant force despite entering the latter stages of his career. The 34-year-old recently signed a contract extension with the Chiefs, making him the highest-paid tight end in the league, but Chicago's front office appears undeterred. With their sights set on a deep playoff run, the Bears are reportedly willing to explore multiple trade scenarios, potentially offering draft capital and key players to make the deal happen. The question remains, would Kansas City even entertain the idea of parting ways with their star playmaker? The move would not only reshape Chicago's offense, but could also have massive implications for quarterback development. With the Bears set to build around a new signal caller, Kelce's leadership and experience could be invaluable in mentoring a young passer. His ability to create mismatches, find open space, and deliver in high-pressure moments would give the Bears a game-changing weapon, something they have lacked for years. Meanwhile, the potential loss of Kelce would leave a major void in Kansas City, potentially forcing the Chiefs to rethink their offensive strategy in the post-Kelce era. From a business perspective, Kelce's arrival in Chicago would bring more than just touchdowns. It would generate an immense media buzz. His relationship with pop icon Taylor Swift has already brought a new wave of attention to the NFL, and moving to one of the league's biggest markets would only amplify that effect. Merchandise sales, ticket demand, and national primetime games would likely skyrocket, making this not just a football decision, but a major financial opportunity for the Bears. While no official trade talks have been confirmed, the growing speculation is impossible to ignore. If Chicago can convince Kansas City to even consider negotiations, this could become one of the most talked-about transactions in recent NFL history. Until then, Bears fans will be left to dream of a future where one of the league's greatest tight ends suits up in navy and orange, bringing championship aspirations back to Soldier Field. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.